Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ask YP Now show. This is a show focused on positive living, work-life balance, living with passion, success in your life and your business, and most importantly, to make the world a better place. So we've got two special guests with us this evening, morning and afternoon. And this is John, all the way from Los Angeles, and we've got Bronwyn from, is it Wagga Wagga?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Or at least close enough, okay? So, John and Bronwyn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Bronwyn, would you like to go first?
Well, hi, everybody. Yes, my name is Bronwyn Boyle, and I'm an archetypal consultant, and I work with people to find out their authentic selves and who they truly are and how to live a better life, I guess, through that, get better results in business, better results in their relationships, and just, focus on who they are and stop using the masks that they've used for a long time.
Very cool. Hi, my name is Johnny Coppola. I started out in New York as an actor. I did a bunch of Broadway shows, national tours, moved to Los Angeles, acted, transitioned into directing, also started an institute called Coppola Squared that's been around for about 18 years now. And what we do with the archetypes is we use the archetypes to help you develop your personality. If you break down the word personality, it's the ability to be a person. And so what happens when you work with your archetypal makeup as an artist, as a producer, as a director, an actor, a writer, you start to come in touch with what your voice is and what it is that you have to say. And you start to understand how your mechanism works, how your personality works in the dark and in the light. And it's actually fascinating to work with people and watch their lives change. I found out, 3 days ago from my business partner, my ex-business partner, actually, he had to go home, that we have hit, I've gone through 5,000 people, and that's been with no advertising. So the word of mouth has been really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So John, give me a second while I'm going to ask this question to Bronwyn. Okay, so Bronwyn, we mentioned archetypes. Okay, so I don't believe that not everybody understand what an archetype is. Can you just go down to the back to the fundamentals? What is an archetype?
Oh, look, essentially an archetype is it's a pattern of power. It's something like I always say in the card deck of life, what's your strong suit? So when someone describes someone, they will use an archetypal name. So they're a bully, or they're a princess, or they're a queen. So in that one word, it encapsulates a whole paragraph at least of the energy of that person. And so you're looking for those essential energies within you that are so natural that you can't be anything else, or you wouldn't want to be anything else. Does that make sense?
So is it right to say that your archetype is basically your persona? Or it's totally different again?
Well, yes, people would probably understand it as a persona. It's deeper than that. It's something that's really innate within you. But yes, people would understand it as a persona.
Okay, and how many archetypes are there actually? Is there a finite number?
No, there's not. There's an infinite, and they're growing all the time. So like the networker as an archetype wouldn't have been a word used to describe someone years ago. It might have been the messenger or the town crier or something like that, but it wouldn't have been networkers. So they change. Yeah.
Okay. So are there I'm going to push you a bit further with this question, right? Because some of the some of the listeners in here, they're pretty like it's human nature to try to put things into boxes. So I'm trying to help them put certain things in I would say not a constraining box, but for them to be able to understand better. Are there if you say that it's infinite, but are there some dominant ones? Are there any a specific number of dominant archetypes that most people fall in?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people choose ones like the entrepreneur or the engineer, the visionary, the pioneer. They're all archetypes that people speak to a bigger picture about what they see their life being about. And then you kind of drill down and you get the more personality type of ones, like the coward, the bully, the princess. They're all very popular.
Okay. Thanks, Bronwyn, for this. So now, I mean, when I first heard about your topic, for the both of you, I was really intrigued, and the first question that came to my mind is that, hey, what has Archetype got to do with, Hollywood, actor coaching or movie production? Because it seems like two separate worlds. Okay. So
Actually,
can either of you speak into this? Yeah. What has Archetype got to do with Hollywood actor training and movie production? Yeah.
Actually, it has everything to do with it. Every single thing to do with it, because the beginning of any project is a story, and a story is made up of archetypes and how they interact. So that's the first part of it. So in every piece of literature, on every television show, in every theater piece, in every film, it's made up of archetypes. And we're drawn to things that actually, if you think about performances that you love or shows that you really like, you're drawn to it because it's pulling your archetypes into their archetypes, into the archetypes. It's speaking to you because it's archetypally speaking to you. So the power of it is huge. And also the other thing about it is that the archetype is, if you think about it, it's also how we market. So, for example, if you take Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, and Jennifer Aniston, right? Now, for 10 years, we've been walking into supermarkets and seeing the three of them on that magazine cover because of the divorce. I can tell you that the reason why we saw that for 10 years was because it's archetypally perfectly broken down. We want Jennifer Aniston to be the damsel in distress that gets her husband stolen from her, so we feel bad for her and we go see her romantic comedies. We want Brad Pitt to be the white knight that everybody's fighting over, and we love Angelina Jolie for being the vixen that steals people's husbands. So if it was the other way around, and Jennifer Aniston stole Brad Pitt from Angelina Jolie, you would have heard about it in a nanosecond. It would have been on one paper one day, because that's not how Hollywood works. So not only is it telling the story and matching the story with the proper artists, but it's also in marketing the story. And this is ancient. This is what they did back in the day when the studios were developing people. They developed their personalities. If you came to Hollywood, you were allowed to get a screen test, no matter who you were. And basically, they turned the camera on you, and you were either able to be a person with no self-consciousness on camera or not. And then they broke you down archetypally, and they developed a Betty Davis or a Joan Crawford a Cary Grant, and they used their archetypes. So that way you know what it is that you're buying. I know when I go to a Betty Davis movie, this is what I'm going to get. I know when I go to a Judy Garland movie, this is what I'm going to get. People like to know what they're buying. They don't like the surprises, and they don't like the lie. The archetypes are a way for you to be in your truth. And when you're in your truth, you're being seen. And when you're being seen, that's the most powerful thing that you could do, no matter what business you're in. As soon as I see you, I know you, I trust you, and I want to work with you. And that's how we move forward. Too many people are hiding.
Thanks for sharing that, John. There's a lot of depth, into what you shared. Maybe we're gonna, dissect it a little bit later on. Okay. So Bronwyn, can you just share what your thoughts on that?
Look, it just makes so much sense. Like if you think about the archetype of the hero, Joseph Campbell's work of the hero's journey, that is the basis of so many scripts. But Joseph Campbell worked on the Star Wars movies, and it's the classic, even down to the color of black and white, and the hero, and the meeting of the mentor, the crossing of the bridge, the slaying the dragon. The whole story is the archetypal hero's journey, and and everybody kind of has that little bit of a hero in them. And those, Blindside was another one, that the journey of of the football player plucked from nowhere. Like this, the whole story, it appeals to us because everybody has that wanton dream within them.
Okay.
And so the big blockbuster movies, you really look at the script and the arc of the script. The hero's journey features in so many of them.
Yeah.
Would you agree, John?
Absolutely. Yeah, every script, every television show, everything archetypally, you start out as the hero or heroine starts out as a victim and then moves into a victor. And it's quintessential. The quintessential movie is The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy is the victim. If you look at The Wizard of Oz, it's archetypally perfectly broken down. It really is every movie. It's a hero or heroine trying to get down a path. She has friends who are trying to help her, somebody who's trying to stop her. She has a spiritual revelation with Glinda, and then she's gotten her magic. It's the story of life.
I love the breakdown of The Wizard of Oz. It's a great metaphor.
If we want to do the same breakdown to a more recent movie, something, let's say, in the next the past 5 years, do you have a sample of a movie that you could break down? Something that most of the audience would be able to identify with.
Really, the thing about it is, it's like you could absolutely name any movie, and you could do it. I mean, Forrest Gump. It starts out as a tragedy. He's a crippled kid who's bullied and made fun of, and maybe has some mental issues. He starts to go down his journey. He becomes a magical child. He starts to become a magician. Then he becomes a Midas miser. Everything he's touching is turning to money, and then he even is able to get married and have a child. And if you also bring him back to his childhood, he's a sick child. It's really the story of all of our lives.
Gee, first time I've seen Forrest Gump being dissected like that. Yeah. What about my all-time favorite movie, Avatar? How would you dissect that?
I'm not as familiar with that movie. It's one of my. I haven't really studied that movie. I saw it very briefly once.
Yeah.
How about you, Bron?
So, I mean, it's along those same lines, isn't it? Because the hero, it's a cripple.
Well, I mean, it also isn't Avatar, because I haven't seen Avatar for years, but isn't it the crippled soldier who through
that's right. It goes along the same theme too. Yeah,
it's the same thing, and that is the hero's journey, and even as someone who would be in a wheelchair, he can live the life he wants to live through the avatar. And an avatar is an archetype.
Absolutely.
The avatar is an archetype. So the whole movie is archetype.
If you look at even Harry Potter, the journey of a magician. What?
The magical child. Absolutely.
Yeah, the magical child growing up and learning about magic. And if you really look at all the episodes, the arc of the episode is that he's learning how to use his power by either using it correctly or misusing it. Because that's how we learn how to use our power. We learn by, I just blew up the television set, and I just created a telephone,
Yeah. Okay. So just let me sum it up a bit, and then I'm going to let you share a bit. So basically, what you're saying is that when we watch a movie, and if we think, all of us think about our favorite movie, like for example, Harry Potter. Each of us would have identified with one of the characters in there, isn't it? That's the feeling that, okay, I'm being understood, and then we enjoy it and we get involved in the movie. Am I right so far?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and movies are a condensed version. They're an exaggerated version of an archetype. You don't see the hero going to the toilet. You don't see the hero necessarily cooking, doing the mundane things of life. So you see the high voltage version of an archetype, and it touches something in us.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to business, how does this, what I've just shared, or what we've just shared, how does this, relate back to somebody who is a business owner?
Well, just being a business owner and working with people, and we're filmmakers, we're artists. I'm always having to get investors to give me money. There's a really big difference between when Johnny walks in the room and when my magician walks in the room.
Okay.
I light up. My magician is very empowered. My magician really knows his stuff. My magician is my director. And so I just have to sit for a moment and really focus on my magician and allow him to go into that meeting and just create. Now, that could also turn around to be where, you know, maybe this investor or these people that I'm working with, you know, have had some bad investments and had some bad situations go on for them. Well, then I wouldn't let my magician go in that room. I would let my Messiah go in that room, because my Messiah wants to save people. My Messiah wants to help heal people. My Messiah will listen to them and what they've gone through in a very, very different way, and will help them understand why these things may have happened. And also, my Messiah is very trustworthy, and you can trust him with the fact that these things won't happen with us. So I use my archetypes all the time in business, especially with the way in which I work with people and with my employees. A business is successful when everybody is doing what they do best. As soon as somebody is asked to do something that they don't do best, they become a little unhappy and frustrated with themselves. Everybody in your business, knowing your archetypal makeup, then in that moment, you know what you do best. And then you put people doing what they do best. They're happy and your business is flourishing because it's all on a bigger note.
Wow. Bronnie, you want to add to that?
I mean, I've worked with a lot of businesses over the years the reason that I've come in is that there's a pain point, and the pain point is normally conflict in the business. And so, you know, they say the fish rots from the head.
Very true.
So what is it about the business owner or the boss or the manager that they need to learn about themselves so that they're more comfortable in their own skin? It changes their management style. It changes how they work with people, and them just understanding themselves. And that journey teaches them about others. And so they can start to recognize some of those patterns in other people. So as a manager, as a senior figurehead within a business, it's absolutely key for your leadership. And then you start looking at the people who work for you or work with you. And you look at the conflict that they can encounter. It's like, what's the rub? And so it's helping people to understand who they truly are and accepting others for who they are, because it's not, archetypes sometimes clash. It's not personal. So with archetypes, it's taking the personal out and picking it up a level and being able to look at it and go, this is actually what's going on. This is the story of what's happening. So archetypes are really, really good in helping to clear conflict, but it starts as internal conflict. When people feel victimized, when people feel that they're sabotaging themselves. Most people would understand the saboteur, if nothing else, as an archetype. Sabotage is a huge one in business. How are you sabotage? How are you showing up? And understand yourself is a real bonus. To truly understand yourself enables you. I call it the kitty litter tray of life.
Okay.
And it's what floats to the top. So you just got to look for your strong points and stick to your strong points and stop being everything to everyone, because it's not possible.
That's true.
And like with actors, it's like stick to your strong points. You can bring an archetype to a role. It doesn't have to literally be called that thing, but you can use the innate nature of you to be able to bring it out into a role. And Johnny's been doing this for so long. I mean, I've enjoyed working with Johnny and having archetypal conversations for 15 or more years now, Johnny. 15, 17 years we've been sitting around nattering about archetypes, and to see the transformation in people.
Unbelievable.
It transforms them. And when it's to truly see somebody, and for someone to truly be seen, it's very seductive for them. And they get an experience of being comfortable in their own skin. And when people get really comfortable in their own skin and they know who they are, they can unleash a power within them that it's intoxicating. And they really, like, it's unbelievable to watch that come out in people.
I also think that one of the things that is I watch the whole person change when they start to understand their archetypes. Their gait, the way in which they walk, is different. But the thing about it for me is what I experience is as I watch people get to know their archetypes, I watch them get to know themselves, and they fall in love with themselves in a different way, and their self-esteem and their self-worth really gets high.
Yep. Okay, so for now, I've got two questions, based on what you just shared. So first is a statement, the second one is a question. Okay, so it looks like the benefit of knowing your archetype is both internal. You got clarity about yourself, your confidence, and so on. And then the next part is the external benefit, meaning that how you communicate and how you are seen or perceived by the people you're talking to. So this is really amazing. Right? Okay, so there's a comment part. Then the second part is the question. So John, you were saying that you let the magician go into the room, or you let the Messiah. So you seem to be alluding that within us there's more than one archetype.
Yeah, I think that I do it like the film. It's a film wheel, I call it. Okay. So I believe we have 7 archetypes. I believe we have a primary archetype, which is your strongest and most powerful leader of the president of the committee. We have one that's trying to stop us all the time. It's a saboteur that's always trying to stop us. And we have one that's always lying. That is, unfortunately, it's the Wizard and the Wizard of Oz. I don't know how familiar you are with the story.
Yeah, I am familiar.
Well, she turns around and she says, "You're a very bad man." And he says, "I'm not a very bad man. I'm a very bad wizard. I landed here in this balloon, and they told me that I was the Wizard of Oz, so I took the job." So he's not right for the job. So we don't believe, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's when somebody's not right for the job in your company. So at the end of the movie, we don't believe that he's getting Dorothy home in the balloon. So what happens? Dorothy gets in the balloon with Toto. Toto leaps out. Toto in Latin means soul. She goes after her authentic self. Her heart, the Tin Man, accidentally cuts the rope, and the balloon starts to take off. And she goes, "Come back, come back." And he goes, "I can't come back. I don't know how to work this thing." Wrong for the job. He's not a wizard. You can't be a wizard if you're not a wizard. And so what it does in businesses is, I find, it helps people put people in the right position. Because if everybody's in the right position, it's like a great football game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it flows, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So you already, got me really interested, if I want to find out more, what should I do, or what can I do if I want to find out more about my archetype and how I can use it in my business? I'm basically a trainer. I help people to work less and more, and I definitely want to get my message across, to get more people wanting to engage with me. So where can I learn all this, or how can I learn all this?
Well, you could take Bronwyn and I's class.
Tell me more about it. Tell me more about it. Okay.
Well, in the class, the first part of the class is structured where you get a list of a ton of archetypes, and the dark and the light part of it. And if you feel that you look at it, you understand your personality, you know things that people have said about you, and if you see something that really strikes you, you circle it. If you circle the light, you circle the light. If you circle the dark, you circle the dark. If you circle both the dark and the light, the chances are that's one of your archetypes.
Okay.
Then we put the wheel together for you. you know, like this might be your primary, this might be your saboteur, this might be your wizard, blah, blah, blah. And then we show you how to get in touch with them and how to interview them as if you're interviewing a part of your personality. And by just having, you know, just all of a sudden writing their story. And as you write your story, now you've gotten to know you. It's just like being in a relationship, only it's a deeper relationship with yourself. So if I'm going to marry somebody, I'm not just going to meet them and marry them. I'm going to want to get to know them. I'm going to want to have dinners with them. I'm going to want to watch TV with them. I'm going to want to know their opinions. And so that's kind of what we teach you to do. We kind of teach you to hang out with your archetype so you could know him and then know yourself. And I call it like running the energy. Like my magician has a very different energy than my messiah, that has a very different energy than my storyteller, that has a very different energy from my rebel. They're very different energies. Depending on what energy is called for is what I bring up. But at the end of the day, it's a definition of my personality. And it's not really about compartmentalizing them and putting them in different boxes, because once you get to know them and you understand them, you understand how you work. And so instead of compartmentalizing, you've amalgamated. And now you're whole and you're authentic and you're seen and you're not hiding. The minute that we see something's hiding, we have a back off. Okay, so if you come to my house and I want to sell you this chair, right? And I have the chair in the middle of the living room and it's just the chair, polished. I know everything there is to know about this chair. You're probably going to buy it. But if I have 2 pillows on the chair and a blanket and it's hiding the chair, you're going to be like, there's something wrong with that chair.
Yeah.
Or the chair is not good enough, so it needs the 2 pillows and the blanket. And that's how most people are working. They're working with either hiding or not being enough. And the archetype is just the chair there as is. You either want it or you don't. It's either your chair or not. But at least you make a decision.
Yeah. Bronwyn, do you have something to add on to this?
I know.
You're just as captured in the conversation as me listening to John.
A number of times, John, I've sat around till the sun comes up over a cocktail talking archetypes. We could talk like this for hours and hours on end. And I think the beauty of understanding your archetypes is to truly know who you are. And it lets you sift the other stuff out. And when you stop trying to be something you're not, and that's a lot of times in business, and there's phases of business where you're everything. When you first start your business, you are doing everything. The cash flows, the whole world, you know, and so you're doing it all. And eventually you want to get to the point where someone else who, I remember one time I was a manager and I had this admin person who was that quintessential librarian.
Okay.
And they had attention to detail and their ability to do all of the stuff that I really didn't care about. And I didn't care because I wasn't any good at it. My filing system is like plastic containers full of bits of paper. I know kind of what's in there, but there's no order to it.
It's an organized mess. Yep, I know.
Yeah. So it's through that journey in business of as your business grows or as you grow, being able to be truly who you are and stick to your skills and your magic and let the magic that somebody else's magic, let them do it. Get them to do it. Outsource whatever it is that you're doing. Get someone else to do the tasks that you really. It's not your happy place.
Yeah. No.
And sometimes you have to make some of those decisions. But sometimes the money is an issue. When you're first starting out, you have to do everything because the money's not there. You're building this thing, but you can outsource to other archetypes that you don't have.
So as somebody who coaches business owners, I'm just gonna jump on one point, right? So
Mhm.
basically, if you focus on your strength, your primary archetype, or what you're really good at, you're gonna get massive results compared to try to do all the smaller stuff. Is this making sense? So
I
sorry, John.
I watch it happen all the time. I mean, I
Yeah.
literally watch it happen all the time. It happened to me when I started the business with my business partner. He's organized, computer, business, all of that. I'm imagination, creativity, blah blah blah. And whenever I had to go outside that box, whatever project that was, would just go womp womp womp. Whenever he had to go outside that box, whatever project it was, and so really, I remember going downstairs and meeting in the lobby and being like, if you do this, we're gonna sink, and if I do this, we're gonna sink. I need to do all of this, and you need to do all of that, and we were literally successful like that week.
Yeah, awesome.
I think
Yeah,
the key element. Sorry, Wapi. The key element of that. When there is two different skill sets, the importance around each person respecting the other and valuing the other for those skill sets. Where I see it gets out of whack is where one person thinks their bit's more important than the other.
Right.
So the key element of that is honoring and respecting each other's skill sets, but also valuing and understanding the value, because I can't do that.
Okay.
Or I don't do it as well as you. Like I could probably tile a floor. It would take me 3 weeks. A tiler could come in and do it in 3 hours.
That's right.
It's not about necessarily you can't do it. It's just that you shouldn't. I just don't, because you're not going to get the same results in the same time.
Hey, thanks. So for those of you who want to get in touch with, John and Bronwyn, I've just put up their Facebook page up there, or Bronwyn's one. You could get hold of John through Bronwyn and Bronwyn's email address. Okay, so that's one way to contact. And do you have a link, Bronwyn, about that workshop that's coming up? When is the date?
So it's Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, the 7th, 8th, and 9th of October. Yeah, that's the link. So there's a couple of videos on there that you can see from past participants. And there's a short video with John answering some questions and all the information and the sign up.
Okay, so so you've got so listeners, whether you're listening to this live or if you're listening to a recording of this on the various Facebook pages or LinkedIn pages, this is how you can get in touch with Bronwyn and John. And if you're really interested to find out more about your archetype and how you can leverage on it for your own personal development and for the development of your life and your business, go check out this link and do register. Okay, right. As we are coming up, not coming up, as we have exceeded the half an hour mark, I'm just gonna ask that both of you to share. We say that to share one thing, that we say that the business world has now shifted. Due to the last 2 years, the pandemic and so on. There's a new paradigm of doing business. There's a new economy or a new normal out there. Each of you, what would be your number one tip to business owners out there?
I think that one of the things that's really infectious right now, because people have been, been brought down with the pandemic and, locking down and being in, is unleashing the passion for what it is that you do can be very, very, very infectious. And I noticed that I'm starting a company in Atlanta because that's where a lot of film is going. And I'm kind of in the middle of that and doing a project down there. And I just find that when I go there and I'm meeting all the people, it's like there's some people whose vibration or frequency, whatever you want to say, is infectious because they're passionate about it, or this whole thing that we've just gone through has just lowered their vibration, and it's like, just get away from me. So I just think keep your passion up, and because you're passionate about your products, your projects will always be infectious.
Woohoo! I love that. Okay, so Bronwyn, what would your tip be?
I don't know whether we'd ever see this again, and I don't know that anyone could have predicted that a whole planet would be shut down all at the same time, and we were all forced online. We were forced into to stay at home and to be more insular. And I think during this time, a lot of people have asked some pretty big questions about their life, and they've made decisions now that things are opening up again. They don't want to go back to the way things were. They want to have more work-life balance. They want to have, they want to keep some of what they got through lockdown, the bits they didn't like. So I think a lot of people ask some really big questions around, what am I doing? Who am I? Who do I want to be? And this is probably one of the most extraordinary vehicles to understand yourself, is through your archetypal patterns. Okay. So I think people discovered things about themselves they didn't know, or things became exaggerated that they thought they knew before and now they know for sure. And they're making different decisions from a different place. So I think the key is, but I'm biased obviously, is to get to know yourself.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you are what you've got. You're your best investment. Invest in yourself, find out who you are, and spend a bit of time. Reflect and learn. And I think this is a great way of doing it.
Totally agree with you, Bronwyn. You know, you got me sold, and I'll definitely be registering for the workshop. I just got to check the dates, you know, at the workshop that you and John is. I want to know. I want to know my archetype. Okay. You got me really intrigued. So just a quick one on the workshop itself. Can anybody sign up? Is it meant for only actors, or you know what?
No, I think that, you know, acting is the art of mirroring the human condition. Okay. And all you have to do is be a human.
Okay.
It's the only requirement, really. You have to be a human who wants to get to know themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have an element of performance in their life.
Oh,
whether it's a school teacher or it's a lawyer or it's, you know, a coach. Great, it's perfect for coaches. And I think, you know, I met John through a mutual friend because I said I wouldn't mind, while I'm spending all this time in LA, I wouldn't mind doing some acting classes, not thinking I was going to be an actor. I just think it's one of those things to, and then John and I met and we were like brothers within 5 minutes. We just had that archetypal fits. And yeah, I think to do an acting class regardless, I mean, and this is priced at actors pricing, because we all know actors when they're starting out, they're waiting tables, they don't have the money. So for corporate, this is gold. It's the cheapest training you'll ever get. So I think we've got an early bird up until, I think it's the 26th or 23rd, 26th of September. So, you know, for $400 and a weekend intensive, unbelievable value.
Okay. So that's good. Okay, so thank you so much, John and Bronwyn. You know, we've exceeded. This is supposed to be a 30-minute show. We've exceeded, but I'm sure everybody who's listening in is really enjoying it. And I forgot to even ask them to post the questions, because I had questions that I wanted to ask myself. So I was a bit, you know, biased today. Okay, so anyway, if you are listening to the recording of this, you know, just type your question in the comments, and definitely between the three of us, we'll answer, you know, the questions that you may have, right? Okay, especially if you're really, really curious about wanting to know your archetype, you know what to do. Okay, so John and Bronwyn, shall we say bye-bye to our audience?
All right, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Have an enjoyable day. Okay, so bye-bye.
Bye.